a defensive war after long patience of suffering, when the opponent continues to strike at you, to hit you, to attempt to destroy you physically and materially. You go on trying to persuade him for a long time with patience until a time comes you can take it no more. Then you are permitted to defend yourself with the same weapons which the enemy is already using against you. This is the Ahmadi concept of jihad as based on our understanding of the Quran. So in this understanding, any Muslim will be most welcome to join us, and we should be welcome to be joined by all sane Muslims who see this point of view. With the rest, there is no point in cooperating, because their jihad in the name of God is mostly unholy and meaningless and without justification. What was the justification of a holy war of Iraq against Iran and Iran against Iraq? But after this, translation please.
I kaliffens svar han pekte på dette med at det er ulik oppfatning mellom de ortodokse muslimer og Ahmadi-muslimene når det gjelder begrepet jihad. De ortodokse muslimer bruker ordet jihad som hellig krig, som noe de kan gjøre også for tro, etter at de først har prøvd å overbevise folk om religionens sannhet. Og da vil de ikke være med, så slår det der. Så går vi til krig. Kalifen peker på at det er aldeles meningsløst, og det finnes ikke noen basis for dette i Koranen. Det eneste tilfellet man kan bruke jihad som det riktig forstått, virkelig den hellige krig, det er dersom du selv blir utsatt for angrep, og om igjen prøver å stanse det, og prøver å få motparten til å holde opp, og motparten fremdeles ikke vil gi seg. Og da må du, når alle andre utveier et forsøk, da har du rett til å gripe til samme type våpen som fienden gjør mot deg. Det er rent forsvar, og det er absolutt siste utvei. Dette er Ahmadi-muslimenes oppfatning av ordene slik som de benyttes i Koranen.
Yes,
well, it's not another question. Jihad was used only as an example. I know the word is being misused. What I really wanted to know is how is the Ahmadiyya's solidarity towards other Muslims, because the Ahmadis has been discriminated so much. So I wonder what. Sorry, that was Norwegian.
I understand your question. I'll answer.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, because the way you framed your question first time, I was led to the wrong answer. The answer was right, but in the wrong direction, of course.
Spørsmålet var, når nå Ahmadi-muslimene blir utsatt for så alvorlig forfølgelse fra andre muslimer, hvordan er da deres holdning om dem? Føler de solidaritet med resten av muslimene?
You see, as far as the Ahmadi attitude is concerned, we always support the just Muslim cause. And where the cause is not just, we show our solidarity from our point of view, whether they accept it or not, by correct advice. In case of Salman Rushdie, for instance, I toured the Western world and also some Eastern countries and told the whole world the correct Islamic attitude. And I requested the Muslim powers to rectify this attitude, otherwise they will be doing double injustice to Islam. First of all, they will be on the receiving end of mockery and laughter, and secondly, people will run away from that Islam which they believe in. So my answer was, Islam condemns insult to any noble human man, strongly condemns, not only to prophets, not only to God, but any decent citizen, but does not condemn such person to death. That is the answer in short. And this is the Islamic attitude. So when I made it clear, a lot of misunderstanding was removed, and a lot of Muslims themselves, who were not Ahmadis, appreciated that attitude and started to reform their views on this issue. Similarly, on the Gulf, I delivered 26 sermons continuously, or I don't remember, I'm sorry, that was on a different issue. On the Gulf issue, I delivered 17 sermons, some lasting 2 hours, telling the Muslim world of the right attitude. Otherwise, I warned Saddam Hussein, he will not only destroy himself, but also damage the cause of Islam and the Muslim world for a long, long time to come. But he did not take heed. So what can you do if your advice falls on deaf ears? But as far as Ahmadis are concerned, they have never hesitated to rectify the Muslims' attitude and to bring them to the right side. That is the best we can do for them.
Vi støtter alltid muslimer i det de mener rett og rettferdig, og dersom vi mener at de gjør noe som feil, så sier vi fra, for det også riktig ifølge islam. Han nevnte som eksempel Rushdie-saken, hvor vi gikk ut mot dem som skrev det dødsstraff for Rushdie. Vi mente at det han hadde gjort var feilaktig, men det helt feilaktig å kreve dødsstraff for en slik gjerning. Så vi tok sterk avstand fra det, og jeg vil understreke at det gjorde vi også her i Norge, hvor vi sendte ut tusenvis av pamfletter og sendte beskjed til alle aviser og medier. Men igjen, slik ikke så interessant, så derfor kommer vi ikke på trykk. Han nevnte også Gulfkrigen, Gulfkrisen, som senere Gulfkrigen, og visste at han hadde holdt 17 lengre prekener hvor han gikk imot, og hvor han pekte på hvor farlig dette kunne være for islam, og hvilke utgjorde negative konsekvenser det ville få for lang sikt for islam dersom ikke Saddam Hussein trakk seg tilbake.
Thank you.